Hey everybody, welcome to Thingamajigger Thursday here at Tucson Acres, where I go over a unique and uncommon tool once a week. If you like this kind of stuff, please hit that like button on your way in. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving weekend. Our kid ended up getting a 6-day weekend. It started snowing Sunday and didn't stop until Tuesday afternoon. We've got about 17 inches total snowfall. It's probably only about 6 or 8 on the ground right now, and it's probably going to melt in the next week or two. It's going to be in the mid-30s. Anyway, so onto the tool. This week we're going to be going over this goofy looking thing that I picked up at an auction a few months back. If you stick around to the end, I'll give you a sneak peek at next week's tool. This is a collet system for a lathe or a mill. And what collets are is they hold bits. All right, so like this is an end mill bit that I use. And I've got a lathe and a mill. They're both small, like hobby style or hobby size. They're not very big, but you have to be able to hold your bits in the machine, right? And all the bits are different sizes. They're actually completely, like the whole shank is a different size for each bit. So the collets that came with these end mill bits are sized appropriately, and it takes a different one for each bit. So this is an R8 collet, and it says 3/8 right on it. So we'll grab a 3/8 here. That would slide into there, and then when you tighten this into the machine, it tightens down there and it holds your end mill in place, or your bit in place. Now, best I can find, they don't make this one anymore. I couldn't even find it online other than a singular sale item on Fleabay. So with this setup here, it has both the bushing and the bushing holder. So they both have expansion slots or compression slots built into them. So your bushing would go in, then your collet or your bit would go in. I'm not going to try to force it right now. And then it gets tightened down. Something like that. Now, I've never used one of these. I would imagine that this got chucked into some of their special machine. I was able to find a Burton Rogers mill or lathe, and it probably had a very specific chuck to hold this chuck, if that makes sense. I would imagine that these went away because it's hard to true them, even though it says right on it, true center. It's probably hard to get that to spin perfectly concentric, whereas this one, there's almost no way for it not to spin perfect, because this piece gets chucked into a perfectly centered chuck, or I'm not sure, the arbor maybe, and then your bit fits in here perfectly. It's a 5/8. It's once that squeezes down, there's really no room for error. You've got 3 slots, compression slots or expansion slots, whereas this one has 2 that you manually tighten down. So I can see why they probably went away from this. I couldn't even find replacement parts for this set. I don't really know what the timeline of this set would have been from. Pretty old though, I think is safe to say. It's definitely a pain in the butt to get these things out of here. There we go. So, and then obviously you would just change out your bushing for the size that you need. So right there, it's 5/8. I could chuck this into here and boom. Actually, that one already has one in it. Look at that, perfect. So that's it, an old collet set from Rogers and Burton. And looking at the set I found on Fleabay there's a tool, it looks like, and I don't know if the one that's on eBay is correct or this one is correct. This actually looks like it should have 2 of these bushing holders or collet holders, or collets or whatever. It seems to fit okay, but the one that I found on eBay actually has a tool that sits in here. So here's a photo of that. But yeah, that's it. This is probably something I'll go ahead and have the missus put on eBay itself, because I will never use this. I mean, it's a cool conversation piece, but old, antiquated, and I just don't have any use for this whatsoever. Very cool though. So for next week's tool, I got this doodad here. Let's see, SR906 is on the bottom. Made in USA, SR903. Probably just part numbers for different portions of the tool itself. 909, 3L is for. I do know what this one's for, but I've never used one personally, so I'll have to do a little research on how to actually use it. Pretty elaborate little dealio though. I mean, it's got all sorts of adjustments on it. So if you know what that is, go ahead and throw it in the comments section. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for stopping by again. Please hit them buttons below. We'll see you next week.